Hello, everybody, and welcome to Teachers in the Dungeon. I'm Tom Gross.
I'm Dan Ream, with
Chilly.
nothing to add.
Nothing to add.
No.
I was just going to say, it's a chilly time in the dungeon. Although in the dungeon, it stays a nice, perfect, all year long, 55, 60 degrees.
Yep.
It's beautiful, but outside,
Just keeps us
shivering.
all chilled like a bottle of red wine.
Yes, I like that. I like that. And you know what? With wine, you get better as it ages. So we are in our prime. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. The goblins should be shaking the bells right now because today it is time for our annual holiday gift-giving guide.
Yes. This third or fourth that we've done this.
Probably fourth. I always shortchange us and say like, well, it must be the third, but I think it's the fourth.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have we'll each kind of give our process of deciding how we came up with things.
I think we went in very different directions this year, so you're getting two for the price of one.
I have
as
no
all
doubt.
good holiday deals should be.
That's right. Two for the price of one. So I can buy something for my wife that I like, and she can have one, and I can have one. And when mine breaks or gets lost, I can just have hers.
Perfect plan.
Oh, I don't know. I'm glad she doesn't listen to this show. So the holiday gift-giving guide. I have 5 things on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, well, no, I don't. I have 6 things. Mm-hmm. So we talked before the show started. I'm going to slip an extra one in there, guys. Dan might not notice, but we'll bookend it so that I start and finish with our guide. Now, on Friday at work, you came to me and said, I've done categories.
Yes.
And then you asked if I wanted to know what they are, and I was like, no, that's good, because I know I had one category. I always feel like, being a librarian, my suggestions ought to be books or book-related items. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. And the game lends itself to books. So definitely. Every one of my choices are books for players. So these are gifts to give to your players if you're a DM, your DM if you're a player. If you are a spouse and listening to this, these would be good things if your spouse enjoys playing RPG games, Dungeons and Dragons. Most of mine are Dungeons and Dragons. Or if you're a player hoping someone gives you one of these, you could either leave our link in an email someplace where they'll find it, or you could just tell them to listen to Teachers in the Dungeon, mm-hmm. the November Holiday Gift Giving Guide. Mm-hmm. That'd be fine with me. So I'll get it started.
Okay.
Unless you got anything else you want to say.
Well, I'll just say, yes, my categories, my theme was, what if you don't know anything about this hobby at all and you want to buy a gift for somebody? So I'm aiming in that direction, which, as the flaw in the system is that if you don't know anything, you're probably not listening to us anyway. But that's where, if you know someone who might, if you are listening and you know someone like that, pass it along, mm-hmm. is kind of, I guess, what I was thinking. But So I've got different categories of gift and different levels of complexity isn't quite the right word, but if you want to go maybe inexpensive to more expensive, in that sort of thing.
And most of mine being books are all about the same price. Like within $10, $15 are all the same price. And I have to say before I begin, we have a window here in the dungeon. And just as we started talking about this, it has begun to snow.
Oh my gosh, it has.
It's very windy, so, then you got the sideways snow. But I think if there were no wind, it would be a pretty significant amount of snow coming down.
It's a little early for us.
It is a little early. It's I would say about 2 weeks early. It's usually right around Thanksgiving, mm-hmm. 1st of December, that our first snow comes. But here we go. We dropped well below 30 last night, and now the snow is coming down.
Yep.
There you go. Kind of puts you into that Christmas holiday.
I was starting to feel that anyway, but probably because I was starting to look at this. And, of course, going to Walmart. And
it is snowing outside the dungeon, and so
perfect setup.
Here we go. The goblins are all scurrying around. I can hear them.
Okay.
So the first book that I'd like to talk about that I think would be a great gift is something that I purchased this week. It's a group that we met at FlatCon just a few weeks ago. And the company, the two guys that make and produce these things. It's Dump Stat Adventures. And that is their website, dumpstatadventures.com. And the book that I purchased, that I was like, any DM or player would find just complete joy in this. And that is the book called Toolcraft. It is, as they say in the book, it is written for the most popular RPG game in the world, 5th edition. And this is a 164-page book. I purchased a paperback copy. I did not see a paperback copy online, so it may be there, may not. I don't know. I didn't look terribly. I didn't look all over the place. I didn't read every single description, but they have a hardback on their website. But it's $35. That's a pretty good deal. And if you are one that your bookshelves are full, or you are a mobile person and you don't like to buy books in a bookshelf, they have a PDF version for $20. So this is basically a crafting book. So they have all sorts of new magic items that you can craft and build. And they are idea starters, but they give you a concrete, this wand. Here's how you would make it and craft it in the game. But then that kind of leads to, oh, what if I didn't want that wand, but I wanted my wand to do this, or I wanted that spell in a helmet or gauntlets or something. And so it gives you all of the materials that you need to make those. So recipes for crafting, powerful tools. There's a heavy, I didn't realize there were magic items in it until I read this on the website and then went back to the book. I'm like, oh, there they are. Because most of it is like gear. Oh. How to craft and make either magical or make a special type of grappling hook, or crampons for your boots, or special jackets and things like that. It's really cool. But there's alchemist supplies. Creating and modifying your own kits. So if you're like a rogue fighter, you could have your rogue kit, but you might want to put some other things into that kit that would help you with your fighter skills. Like if you're a ranger, you might have some bowstrings and things like that stuck in there. So they give lots of ideas like that. So that is my first item from Dump Stat Adventures. Dumpstatadventures.com is the book Toolcraft, $35, and you are on your way. 25 or 20 for a PDF, and you're on your way.
All right. Well, my first category is so obvious that even a person that is a million miles away from D&D will recognize, and that, of course,
awesome.
is dice. So,
oh, yeah.
So, again, speaking to an audience who may not know much, but they know that they want to get something nice for someone who likes D&D, you can never, ever, ever go wrong with dice. And so to give you a little more information, it depends on your comfort level, and with choosing something, you can go bulk. If, part of being a dice goblin, our friend Mark, I think, displays this the best, is quantity matters. Not that I make a habit of quoting Joseph Stalin, but he did say, in a very different context, quantity has a quality all of its own.
Yes.
And I think that is very true with dice. So Mark has this massive, I bet it weighs a pound or two, bag that he dumps on the table when it's time to start fighting, and pulls out, the ones that will decide his fate for that particular evening.
Unless he wants to haze me and show me his Gen Con dice that he got, and just rolls it and goes, oh, look, I got a 20. See that there, Tom? And he shows it to me, like, yes, it's that fancy Gen Con dice that I've never bought, that I've hemmed and hawed every year. But yes, dice.
Yes. So again, if you're on a budget, you can get a dozen sets, 6 sets at Amazon for a couple bucks a set. If you are feeling a little more adventuresome, there are innumerable companies and creators out there, like our friend Jamie at D20 Dinner, that make dice that are absolutely gorgeous. They are works of art, honestly. And you can get them made out of resin. Is the most common. Sharp-edged tends to be preferred by most players, I think. They just look a little cooler. But you can also get them made out of glass or wood, or even agate and other semi-precious stones. Metal dice. You can get them that will ring. You get them with little glow in the dark, which makes no sense when you really think about it, because if the dice are going to work and you're going to notice the glow in
You
the
have
dark,
to turn the lights off.
you're not going to be able to see what you're doing in the game. So, but if
You
that
all know
appeals,
that you got a crit fail.
so there's that. So there's a huge range, and I think it's a safe bet. Again, if you're buying for someone and you don't know how much gear they already have,
Right.
go with the dice.
Yeah. Any D&D person, when they open it up and they see dice and they go, oh, I've already got these, they're not a D&D person.
No.
We love dice. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it. If you run a game club or you work with kids with games, that and you're buying for that person, and you buy that. It was funny. As I was putting this together, I was like, I wonder if you can buy those big bulk from ChessX, and you can. Mm-hmm. Those people would love to have that big old giant bag of just random dice from ChessX. Yep. That's what Mark does. Mark at Gen Con gets the big old cup, scoops it, and then he just takes that to his game table at Game Club. And if someone doesn't have dice, he hands over a set out of that. So it'll be a mixed set, yep. But he's just keep it for next time, and then that becomes their first set of dice.
That's smart.
And I think that's a great idea.
For my personal use, I'm kind of finicky.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All of them have to look the way I want. So.
Yes, I hear you. I saw online the other day, someone posted, these are the dice that I've managed to keep for 40-some years. And he had more than I did, and they were all the same. The starter set, very soft plastic. You'd used a crayon to fill in the number. He had about 7 or 8 of them. I've got 3 that I still have from that original box.
You need to take a picture and post that.
I will.
I would like to see that.
Yeah. My D20, we played in the driveway or in the garage, and we played on the floor, sitting on the ground. And my D20 of that set just became a ball. Constantly rolling that soft plastic dice onto concrete or asphalt. It just became a ball after a while. So I definitely needed to buy. And then during those days, dice were not as easy to come by as they are today. Mm-hmm. So you had to have a good shop in your area. But I love that one. What's a role playing Christmas guide without dice?
Exactly.
Excellent. Well played. We also probably should mention that we are not being paid by any of these companies to do any of these. So just putting that out there. My next one is actually a cheater because it's 2, but they're in the same vein of things. So it's 2 different books. The first one is the Dungeon Master's Campaign Journal, and the other one is the Player's Campaign Journal. Mm-hmm. So 2 books. They look similar. The covers are different, but they are similar in size, similar in thickness. So the Dungeon Master's Campaign Journal is 208 pages. The Player's is 192. I mean, the DM probably usually does need more pages, but the DM's Campaign Journal is a hardcover book, as I mentioned, from Clarkson Potter, and it has the cover art by, you'll know this artist's name if you have any of the variant cover D&D books, and that is Hydro 74. And the Dungeon Master's Campaign Journal has Venger. If you remember the D&D cartoon, he is the big bad guy that has that red cap that kind of has a crooked
one horn
at the top. So as I flip through the table of contents of that, I'll just give you the contents of that. It'll give you an idea. It starts with the player index, where you write down your players and kind of the stuff that they have and do. Then a campaign overview series of pages. Then a campaign index, places, journeys, NPCs, factions, creatures, magic items that are given away. Then you get into the meat of it, where you have the session log, house rules, or where you finish. But at the very end, you have a pocket in the back cover that you could put cards or like handouts that you're going to give to players in that back. And then it has an elastic enclosure that goes around the book so those things don't fall out.
Nice.
So it's a nice little package, and that is $24.99. The Player's Campaign Journal, also with a cover by Hydro 74. Pretty sure this one on the cover is a Oh yeah, it's a hungry, toothy roper that's coming right at you, like right out of the cover. So it's kind of fun. But like the campaign, the DM's campaign journal, the player version includes a back pocket and the elastic enclosure. And then on the page by page breakdown or of the table of contents, you've got information. It's interesting. You have your your character sheet, but it's a little more detailed and the boxes are a little bit bigger.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's about 5 pages of your D&D sheet. I'm not sure. There's things about that I look at, I'm like, I don't know that I'd want to use the book then in play, because that's a lot of turning of pages. But you could do that if you wanted to. The way I was kind of envisioning when I was looking through the book, I was like, okay, this is what I sit down with after the game. Either when I get home and I just can't wind down, I'm just going to sit down with this book and take the notes that I took off of scrap pieces of paper on the back of my character sheet, whatever, and I'm going to put it into this book. Or the next morning when you wake up and it's still buzzing in your mind, you pull out this book. But you definitely could pull this out because it does have everything you need in it to play. It's got your character sheet in the front, has all of your friends' characters that you would write down notes about them and likes. It has a page-by-page log of each session. So session number 1, and I forget the categories, but there's about 4 categories of things to write down, like places you've been, people you met, things that happened, and maybe things that you found. I don't remember, don't quote me on that. But they're nice. It's a nice journal of all of that. And then the back has a decent size section of blank pages and then a decent size section of grid. Where you can map on it, the blank pages. I don't know. I see this and I'm like, oh, that's where I'll like sketch things. Not much of an artist, but if you were an artist, like I think about our friend Alan, if he had this book, man, I would love to get my hands on it after several sessions and just look at the pictures that he sketched in there.
That's what I was thinking. Is it's a kind of make your own keepsake.
Yes, 100%. And you got to the end of my conversation on it is I can just picture these things sitting up on shelves. And so they're $25. But for a campaign that's going to go on and on and on and on, it's a cool thing to have up on the shelf. And you just see it, you pull it off, you flip through it. It's all in one place.
Because you're remembering. It's like, because again, if you're not familiar with D&D, it's storytelling.
Yes.
And so you're creating a story as you go, and it is fun to go back and remember those stories.
Yes. And I keep most of mine in these, what are these called? Like it's steno notebook. And it's not a steno notebook, but it's like what is this book called? I have one right in front of me, but it's what I took notes on when I was in college.
There is a word for it, and I can't think of it. It's essentially a notebook, but it's not spiral bound.
It's like an essay. It's an essay book or something like that. But anyway, I keep mine in those, but it's just my scratchings, and there's no like headings in here. I just themed. Yes, they're themed notebooks. So these have been functional for me, but I'm looking at these campaign journals and I'm like, this is something I put up on a shelf.
Yeah.
And it's my author's notes. If you ever wanted to write your adventure or just revisit it, it's a great way to keep all that organized.
That's good. Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking that when this releases, these 2 books will not be available quite yet. They go on sale on November 18th.
Okay.
So it's probably a week after this show releases that will come out. They're beautiful journals. They're really well organized, and you really could do anything you want with them, but they have it all laid out. But it's easy to just cross out a heading and put what you want.
Nice.
So there you go. That's my number 2.
Okay. My second one continues on, again, for the person who wants to buy for a D&D person, is not sure what they have or don't have. Another safe bet is minis.
Perfect.
You can never have too many minis, particularly if you're a DM. This might be more toward DM than player, but even so, I'll get to the player thing here in a second. But if you're not familiar, as a DM, you're never going to have the minis you need on any given instance. You're always going to, it doesn't matter how many you have, there's always going to be that one monster that you think, I meant to get that and I didn't, so I'll just have to sub in this one instead.
Yep.
Or, I've got some goblin minis, but not enough for this encounter. So once again, you can get these in bulk very reasonably on Amazon.
Yeah.
You just search D&D miniatures and lots of different options. If you are not familiar with the game, you're probably not going to go wrong. It's all very adaptable, and anybody who is a DM and gets a bunch of these is going to be happy.
Yes.
So you can do that. If you want to upgrade, then there are companies like Creature Caster, and I'll include links to all of these, where these are very finely produced little models that if you're buying for someone who likes to paint minis, these are very intricate, very detailed, very beautiful, and a little more expensive, but if you want to get something special for somebody, you can go that direction. If you are, I think I did this last year, but it bears repeating, if you're buying for a player, there is a website called Hero Forge that will allow you to design your own mini for your own character. So if nothing else, you can get a gift card, a gift certificate from them for the person you're getting the gift for.
Right.
And they can either purchase the mini and have it sent to them. They can purchase the file and they can print it themselves if they have 3D printing capability. You can even have it painted for you, or painted for you and sent. So there's lots of options there if you are wanting to spend a little more and make it a particularly memorable gift. So once again, there's a range of things out there, pretty easy to find if you just search D&D miniatures, Dungeons and Dragons miniatures. Tons of options out there. Again, from everywhere from 25 of them for $15 to one that can cost $70.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your gift.
Exactly. And we all have at least one in our group. We all have at least one of those custom
Hero Forge.
ones.
Yes.
Yeah, Hero Forge from our original. I think it's our original campaign has, like, I have Morum and everybody has theirs. I'm about ready to dip my toe into Hero Forge with my goblin.
Oh,
Knut.
you should. Yes.
I think he needs, and I've always just used a random goblin for him. That's another thing. If you're a DM and you've got that player who always is just fishing for something that's close to their character and they've been playing for a while, you could buy the basic, but buy them something that that's their character, so that it's not a different, because I just fish around for a goblin every time it's played time to play Gnuts, and sometimes he has a dagger, sometimes he has a bow, sometimes he's not actually a goblin, he's a halfling, and so I think it's about time to go to Hero Forge, because I've got the picture in my mind of what Gnuts looks like from some images I saw at Gen Con. So
nice.
There we go. All right. Yeah, miniatures, you can't go wrong. And I see what you've done. So you've chosen things that have a reasonable price, a mid-price, and you could go expensive. I love it. All right. Next up on my list, sticking with the theme of books, this is a group of authors that we have talked to on the show before. They've got an amazing set of books called The Young Adventurer's Guide. And this would be a great gift for anybody, especially your younger players. Anyone from, I would say, 8 years old to 80 years old would enjoy this book. And the book is called The Warriors and Wizards Compendium. This is a little bit of a shock if you've heard us talk about the Young Adventurer's Guide and you've got a picture in your mind of what the Young Adventurer's Guide is and looks like, because this is a 272-page hardcover book by 10 Speed Press that is 7 by 9, so 7 inches wide, 9 inches tall. If you get your ruler out and you measure the regular Young Adventurer's Guides, they are not that big. So this is a bigger Young Adventurer's Guide book. So it's an addition to that series, but the book is heftier in size, as I've mentioned. Now, while it keeps in the spirit of being all about informational and the subjects surrounding the world, that most of the most popular role-playing game, the book is more directly than the other Young Adventurers Guides leads to actual playing of the game. because it covers character, classes, species. Then it goes into types of magic, items for travel and exploration, magic items, constructs, traveling the realms, creating your own realms, all in the wonderful, with wonderful images, pictures, illustrations that you get from all of the other Young Adventurers guides on the inside. This is the book that when we have a brand new player in our game club and they're like, I've never played before, I've heard about this, my friends play it, I'm just interested, but I don't know where to even begin creating a character. This is the book I would hand them. Say, take this home, read it over, look at it over the weekend, read what's interesting to you, let the other things go, and then bring it back and tell me what you want to create, and then we can start working on that. Because this will go over all of those things, covers all of that, then gets into even more. So it's, if you know the Young Adventurers guides, you know exactly what to expect, but this is just a little more than what you've gotten in the past. So it is on sale now. Just went on sale last couple weeks ago. It is $25.99 for this book, but it is well worth every penny of that for this book.
All right. I am in the same general area of the hobby for this next one.
Okay.
So
perfect.
My next category is source books. This is if you're a confident person with your gift giving, and you're pretty good at judging, and you're not so worried about will this work or will this won't.
Right.
If you're unsure, minis and dice, always safe, always.
Yep.
This next one is if you know the person and you know that they really enjoy the lore and the storytelling and the background of D&D in general. So probably a dungeon master, a guy who runs the games, but also a player who's just really into, I think probably we could name almost any one of our players, but Chris or Mark or Brian, I think, would definitely be ones who like reading about stuff. And so there are a number of, so I'm going to go beyond, I'm going to assume that if you're buying for a D&D player, they probably have most of the official content.
Yes.
So let's go beyond that.
Okay.
There are tons of third-party publishers out there. If you are listening to this because it's been recommended to you so you can find gifts, and you don't know this, D&D, Wizards of the Coast is the company that produces D&D. They have sort of an unusual and a controversial and cool rule where you can take their content and create your own based on it.
Yes.
And make money off it. So that's what we mean when we say third-party creators. So there are publishers out there who create their own worlds, who create their own monster manuals, create their own adventures. And so it's too many to mention, but just a few that are out there. And these are ones that, well, the first one I'm going to mention, I don't think I've mentioned before, but I found them at Gen Con. And it's a group that produces a set of material based on a place called Harn, Harn. And I'm looking at the book right now. I purchased it, and it is heavy. It is a thick book that is easily the size of any of the D&D books, and it is dense with history and lore about this world that they've created, all the way down to different guilds and how different towns are different and different forms of government and wildlife and history and all of it. That's probably a little much for some people, but would be an amazing addition. I look at it as a DM, I can just go and flip through and get inspired. Oh, I didn't think about having a government that has fallen apart, but there's this one individual who's leading a revival. Whatever the situation is, it can kind of jolt your creativity. So other companies to look at, Kobold Press does a real nice job with lots of different monsters to add to the monster manual. Frog God Games, lots of interesting names here. And of course, we would be remiss not to mention our friends at Kwood.
Yes.
Kwood Publishing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. I say you are way more familiar with their materials, but they do it all. There's adventures, there's monster guides, also world guides, and they are really, really good. And to have as a DM or a player, just to broaden your horizons a little bit.
Yeah, I would say they address a couple different things with their books. If you have the player that you are, or the person that you're buying for is like the person that's a passive player. In other words, they play, but they love the lore of the game. Oh, they would dig themselves into the World of Mir book that Kaywood has. All where they have fleshed out. He has fleshed out his entire, and I would say Andrew Kaywood. He has fleshed out the world that he has created over years of playing in this world with his friends. And if you have an active DM that is always loving to run something new or to try something different, they've started about a year and a half ago publishing what I would old school call modules or adventures. And several of those are out now, and I own them all, and they are really, really unique. He does such a wonderful job of incorporating his own World of Mir into these with new monsters they have. And then if you've got the person that just loves monsters, Kaywood is the place to go, because they have a huge set of compendium of different monsters that are based upon, they're thematically to like the Feywild or dungeons or cities and those sorts of books. So they're wonderful as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to jump onto this bandwagon. We can't forget about our friends at Limitless Adventures. Also, their biggest thing that we use in our game club is they have a product called DMless Adventures. When the DM is sick or busy or gone or just unavailable, but everybody else is available, get everybody together, bring your characters, and you can play DMless Adventures. And it's a fun mechanic that they've put together to where everybody has a hand in the DMing, but you all play like players. It's tons of fun. So that's a great topic. And the DM Dumbstap book that I talked about at the top of the show, that it would fit right away, right in with those third-party creators.
Yes. Okay. Next. Go ahead and take that drink if you want to, Tom. It's okay.
Yeah, I was mid sip, and I'm sorry, everybody, if you're hearing me slurp my coffee. I forgot my lid here last week, so now I'm reticent to take the lid off of this coffee cup. I don't want to litter Dan's dungeon room with my lids.
It is pretty cluttered in here. I don't think I clearly didn't notice the last one, so
well,
I think you're good.
I have to say, I'm going to go back. I'm going to take a half step back, and that Harn world you talked about. I'm just going to tell you, everybody, if you give that book or the World of Mir or any of these lore books to a D&D friend in the morning, you will not see them the rest of Christmas Day if it's a family member. If you're giving it to a friend that you don't live in their family, they will disappear from their family and just flipping and diving through. I've been looking at that Harn World book for 2 years now. Is that about how it's been sitting in here, and I look at it every single time I come. I'm like, I just want to get my hands on that thing. And I'm like, I bet he won't miss it if I take it, but I think he will now that he's talked about it. Okay, my next book is for the D&D or even fantasy fan who has everything. I don't think they'll have this. First of all, it's brand new, but I'm picturing a little collection, 2 gifts in one here. Go out and buy a set of nice colored pencils. Then add it to this book, and you talk about your D&D player or fan. They will disappear this day as well if you give them this with the colored pencils. And that is the Dragons of the Realm official Dungeons and Dragons coloring book.
Yes.
Okay. When I found out about this book, I was like, okay, it's going to be a good gift for a kid. It'll be fun, cute. They'll have the D&D adventure characters from the cartoon and all that. Oh, no. No. You're coloring highly complex images of dragons in combat, dragons in just in their lair with piles of gold. There's a fantastic picture of a black dragon standing on his pile of gold, and he's got his, when a cat gets hunched down like it's wiggling its rear end like it's about to pounce. That's exactly the look that this black dragon has. It's really cool. It is 80 pages of D&D themed line drawings that is dragons, and more dragons. You've got black dragons, red dragons, wormlings, adults, ancient dragons, Tiamat, hydras, dragonborn, and I found a page that's got my dragon. It's a page with a Draco Lich. I was like, wait a minute. And I went back and I was like, that is a Draco Lich. Sweet.
I think we need to put that on the list of prizes for summer camp.
Yes, 100%. So I'm not much of an art person, but one thing I noticed about the pictures is that the outline of the main subjects. So if it's a huge fire, the outline of that fire, a dragon, the outline of the dragon, a weapon, something like that, the lines are a little bit darker. And then the contour or text lines, the textual lines, those are in a lighter color. I don't know. For me, it's helpful for me to find, where I'm supposed to be coloring. But I'm sure to somebody who knows what they're doing, that's meaningful. I say color pencils. It does look like, now again, I am not the expert here, but it looks like you could almost razor blade pages out, put it up on an easel, and it looks like you probably could paint in these. And I wondered if that's what the darker line does. It keeps the paint from running. I don't know. I don't know enough about that. But the paper feels extra thick. So I'm guessing that paint would not bleed through. Now, if you painted one side, you're not going to see, you lose the other side of that. But it's a softcover book, just shy of 10 by 10. So it's a square shaped book. It's $17.99. And this one also goes on sale on November 18th.
Nice. I like that one. All right, my next couple are for, once again, I've gone from safe to risky. And so then the next...
Is my mic on?
Yes.
Okay.
I checked it before we started.
Sorry.
No. Yes. I don't think we told you folks this. We recorded an entire episode last week. And then I looked and I said, you know what? Did you turn that mic on?
I did not.
And not that it's his job. It's
my
dungeon.
It is my responsibility.
But anyway, so from less risky to more risky, this is also pretty safe. But again, you'll need to know a person a little bit. And this is a more general topic, and that would be trinkets, decor, or experiences. I kind of just threw a whole bunch together in this one.
Yes.
So there are plenty of small producers out there, creators, like our friend Philos World Building,
yes,
who produce just very beautiful 3D printed designs. Anything from a chonky dragon that you can paint and use as an ornament on a Christmas tree, yes, to actually handheld props, if that's something that you're into in your game where you're a wizard and you want to cast magic missile. There's a clear resin thing you can hold with 3 little missiles flying out of your hand.
Yes.
If that
So
would
cool.
add you. So there's things like that out there that you can buy. There are little articulated dragons just to have as a fidget. That would be wonderful if you need stocking stuffers for people.
Yes.
That's definitely, again, this is a little harder to find out there, but as I said, our friend Philos World Building, I'll put the link in, is a real good place to start.
Yeah.
And in general, decor. This is, I probably should have subdivided these, but I kind of threw these together so I'd have 5 things.
That's all good. Yeah.
Decor. Actually, I'm going to hold decor for the last one because it matches for that better.
Okay.
But I also said experiences. And there are places out there like Adventure Away,
Yes.
where you can actually go for a weekend and have a professional run a D&D game for you. And they have a Airbnb that they have on standby. They take your order for takeout food and they bring you the food. And they set up the adventure. All you do is come with your character and your toiletries and your clothing, and you're there for the weekend. So I was thinking, for example, my daughter's in her mid-20s. She and her friends love taking summer vacations together.
Yes.
So that's something to consider. It gets a little bit tricky to try to arrange that, but if you've got the finances and maybe you can, pool it with other people and you want to give this as a gift, something like that would be an amazing, unforgettable gift.
Oh, 1,000%. Can't imagine. I really can't. It's hard to imagine. Like we talked about in the past, it's kind of gone by the wayside because we even just have trouble getting together once a month.
Yes.
Everybody. But we talked about like going and getting a cabin, like at a state park or someplace, and all getting together and doing the weekend of D&D. But man, those are hard to plan. But if you can plan it, and like you said, the finances are there, go do one of those professional ones.
Yes.
Because you will get the experience of a lifetime.
So that might be, as I talk about, that might be a gift that if you dabble or you know a little bit about the game and you've got family members who love it, maybe you get a package where you take the family.
Yes.
For the weekend.
Ooh. Man, that would be a ton of fun. That'd be a ton of fun. The family could not say no to that in my house.
Particularly because a lot of this particular venture away, it's a little ways away from us. You'd have to search for more local options, but it's in like Maryland, and so but it's like the woodsy part of Maryland. So there's also opportunities to kind of hike and just enjoy the outdoors, as well as a little bit of a break from the game.
Yes. Okay, so I have one more. Do you still have one more then?
I do.
Okay. Did I skip something?
Maybe you combined.
I thought I had an extra one. All right, anyway. So my last one is I'm going to move away from the world of Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm sticking in the world of role-playing games, but it's a game from Paizo. And it's not even a game I'm going to talk about. It's based on a game that I'm talking about. And this is a fiction novel. Ever since I read this, I bought this book at Gen Con in the Paizo booth. And it is based on the game of Starfinder. So that's a game that I've just brought to Game Club. I've run one session of it. I've been enamored by this game since I was introduced to it. And every year at Gen Con, I've played in the Paizo huge ballroom, a Starfinder game. And I don't know, I've just fallen in love with it. I guess because I've always looked for, I love science fiction as much as I love fantasy, but I've always felt like the science fiction games, I don't know, they're kind of pigeonholed, or it was Star Wars. And I found when I played the Star Wars games, and not this is not dissing those, it's me as a player that has an issue with it. I end up being one of the characters from the movie. And then I feel like I've fallen into a track that I can't get out of.
Right.
But Starfinder, it's like way out there. And then they moved into second edition just over the Gen Con weekend. And now Starfinder is compatible with Pathfinder. So in Starfinder, you could travel to a world that is in fantasy times, and you could play in that world for a while as your Starfinder character.
And shoot everybody with lasers.
Yes, exactly. Which the lasers don't do nearly as much damage as you think they would. I mean, the people in the fantasy world, they're much tougher than what the lasers do. Anyway, so I was really excited about the lore of Starfinder because there wasn't a whole lot out there that I could find. They introduced this book, and I was like, this is it. I'm going to buy this book. I'm not even looking at reviews or whether it's going to be good or cheesy or bad. It didn't matter. I bought it. And I was absolutely blown away. So for those people who know, or even if you don't know the story, it gives a lot of lore on the Starfinder that I had so many branches of adventures coming out of my head when I read this. I was like, this is so good. The novel is set in a flashback story. So you have characters. If you buy the Starfinder edition 2, these characters are shown in the core rulebook. But they're the characters they're the subjects of the story, but they are looking back in time. And so they found this journal that's going to tell them there's this huge event that happened called the Gap, where universally everyone lost their memory. But nobody knows why, because, well, they lost their memory. And so it's like a whole reset of the entire universe. But everybody knows they forgot everything. Like, they look at their lives and they're like, I have no idea who I used to be, but I know I had a wife. I think I had a wife. I think I had family, but no one knows. So there's enough curiosity in this android, who's the main character of this book, that he's like, something happened and I need to know why. The story is set on a space station that is a major setting of the game called Absalon Station. And the android's name is Tercel. And he brings the confused citizens of this certain area of Absalon Station together. He brings order, gets things kind of restarted. Everyone is like, okay, we've got a common goal, and that is to survive. And so let's do this. Because on other parts of the station, some bad people are taking over, taking advantage. They must have remembered that they were bad people. And so Tercel brings order, but he's also on a mission, and he gets a group of people together to find answers as to what happened to the gap. All of this is being put into a journal that the characters in present day are reading and telling us the story. So it's really cool. It gave me so much background on the game of Starfinder that I was like, okay, I 100% want to run this for the kids. I felt like I had enough background to where if they start asking me questions about the world, I can answer those questions. But if you just read it for a good, fun, I mean, this is not going to go down in canon of science fiction and fantasy books. It's a fun, what I call bubblegum read. Mm-hmm. It was just enjoyable. The page turns were great. Even some of the themes linked to like our world, and it was a ton of fun to read. And like I said, I finished it probably, I don't know, I got it in August, so I finished it sometime in September. I still think about this book often. So it's called Era of the Eclipse. I never put that out there. Era of the Eclipse by Tim Pratt. Okay. Highly recommend.
That's I was going to say that's probably one of the best recommendations is if you're still thinking of the book a couple months after you read it.
Yeah, it really. I had high interest in the world and the game, but I think even someone who didn't, or they're on the fence of whether Starfinder is a transition they want to make, I think the book will make that decision for you.
Nice. Well, my final one is probably the riskiest, but
okay.
if you're into that sort of thing with Christmas presents, I think this is a good option, and that would be something to do with decor.
Okay, yes.
So if you have a DM in your household, someone who runs games, and there is a space that's sort of dedicated, mm-hmm. probably the process of transformation has already begun, and it has begun to look like a dungeon a little bit, or a tavern, or something like that. But D&D folks, or if it's a player, but they've got a room for where their books are, mm-hmm. then maybe think about some decor that could go along with that, just to give a little added zest to the space. So there's lots of different options within that. One of the most basic would probably be to find some fantasy art, and have that, maybe get that framed mm-hmm. for your loved one that you're going to give the gift to. Once again, we'll shout out a friend of ours, Alan Morris, alanmorrisart.com. He does wonderful fantasy art that's, I guess I should take half a step back. Fantasy art as a term has a ton of connotations, including some that you probably wouldn't want hanging up. You don't need the lady in the chainmail bikini.
Yes.
Unless you do, and that's your thing, okay. But, us as dads, I think our first thought is, oh my gosh, I don't want that hanging in my house. Right. So anyway, there's a wide range. Mm-hmm. And Alan Morris goes definitely toward classic, like something that you could imagine from a Tolkien-like Middle-earth mm-hmm. like world in the best way.
What I love about the art that you have of his is you can look at that art and you can just sit back in a chair and just sort of gaze upon it, and stories come to mind.
Yes. Those
images that you have are prime for what happened before this picture and what happened after this picture. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to look at it. And every time I go down there, I look at the one of the halfling sitting on an archway or
a ruined archway with a stream underneath. Yeah.
And he's got doesn't he have a journal?
Yep.
And I look at that and I'm like, what is he writing? Like, what is he writing about?
It's called the Map Maker.
Yes.
And so Alan actually has given us a little background, and he did. It's interesting the way the artist mind works. He actually had that character and was going to have him in a very different, darker
I guess I forgot about
location, and then chose this instead. But it's entirely up to you to decide what what
Right.
happened before and what came next.
Yeah.
And I think for me, this goes a little bit into the weeds, but for me, the thing about Tolkien that gets me is the world that he created. It's beautiful, but there's such a sense of loss. Like there once was a wonderful, beautiful kingdom here or a culture here, and all you've got left are these stones.
Yeah.
And that particular image that Alan created reminds me of that. And some of his other images, he's working on a series of statues that are just in the middle of nowhere now.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes you think like that as well.
Right.
But beyond that, if you're not sure about art, poke around and find. I asked my kids for a small shield. I had a sword that I bought years ago when I took kids to Spain.
Yes.
And I had that on the wall, and I think it needs a shield. So I just asked my kids, go and find a shield online. If you want to get me something for Christmas, that's what I want. And you can again, if you're a little more adventuresome and you want to poke around, there are creators that make this stuff that looks authentic, and it's you can get it of any material. It can be just foam, or it can be the actual real metal and wood. But there's plenty of things out there that just have a medievally feel, a coat of arms.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I know that's a thing just in general that you can get online and create a coat of arms for your family.
Right.
So maybe you create that for your player. Anything that sort of evokes, I mean, in general, fantasy tends to be sort of medieval feel.
Right.
But if you know your person well and they're more of a Starfinder kind of person,
Yeah.
then maybe you try to find some
There's
sort of
stuff out
sci-fi
there. Yeah.
things. But that's another option if you feel like they have everything else.
I was gonna say, I'm a huge map person. So like maps on the wall, I think are kind of cool. I mean, I've even hung up some of the maps that are in the back of the Dungeons and Dragons books. Like for a long time, I had the map of Waterdeep hanging in my office.
Well, our friend from Alabama that we talked to.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought maybe it was just an image that was projected by the computer, but he said something about, here I am in my garage with my big old, was it Waterdeep map or Faerun?
I don't know what it was,
Sword
actually.
Coast?
It was just, maybe. I don't
It
know.
might have been Sword Coast, but he had, gigantic map behind him.
Until
That's
he
cool.
said that, I thought, he's got a really good green screen. Yeah. Like, I don't see any lines or anything. That's really good. But I think, maps are a safe thing. If you don't, you're just like, I have no idea, but I think this would be cool. Just look for fantasy maps.
Yeah.
And someone might even custom make one. I'm sure Steve could find somebody that would custom make a map for you that maybe has something to do with your family or, I don't know, whatever. But I love that idea. So when you say it's risky, what's the risk in that?
Well, you have to know the person and their taste.
Okay.
Because you could get them a piece of art that doesn't resonate with them at all. And so that's the risk you take there.
Right.
Whereas with dice or minis, there's always a use for them.
Yes, that's the easy one. I was just thinking, Christmas morning, you dump out your stocking, and dice come rolling out. Oh yeah,
Yes.
and
yes.
it was the first thing you do when those all fall out. You got to check the numbers.
Yeah. Roll them a couple times.
Yes, roll them a couple of times, indeed. Well, this has been fun. I always love talking about this because the things you come up with are almost always. I think the first year we did this, we had a couple comments. And this year, the closest we came to that was the third party. But I got ideas now. You've given me some good ideas, and I hope everyone at home you've got some good ideas of things that you can buy for your players, your DM, spouse, whomever it is. It doesn't matter the price of the gift; it's the gift that matters. So,
or even just telling your loved ones who are saying, "What do you want?"
Yeah,
maybe we've sparked a couple ideas.
That's true. Yeah, I have someone in my family that I say, well, what do you want for Christmas? I don't know. Don't give me anything. I'm like, come on. Are you kidding me? Anyway, so, well, the snowflakes are still falling, and, maybe they've tapered. I don't know, it comes and goes, but
I'm feeling festive.
nonetheless, yes, indeed.
Also feeling kind of pressure to get out and get those leaves raked before the snow covers.
My gosh, my front yard, I tell you. I know, the mower and holiday talk does not go together in our area of the world. So, yeah, thanks for that. Anyway, I know it might be a little early for some people, but I will say happy holidays at this point, and good luck finding something for your friends. If we miss something, if you're like, oh, you guys, you missed the obvious, let us know. Send it in a note. We got a few weeks to get it in on a show. We'd love to hear from you. teachersinthedungeon@gmail.com, or check out this show especially, I think, because we'll probably have pictures on YouTube.
Yes.
So YouTube, Teachers in the Dungeon on YouTube, will have pictures of the things that we talked about. I'll have the pictures of the covers of the books that I reviewed, and Dan will have the links for all of these things. So good about that. So for Dan, I'm Tom, and this is Teachers in the Dungeon, and keep rolling those 20s. See you later, folks.